Helens. Yeah. Hi, Christina. Am I on?
I can hear you. Hi, Christina.
And hi, Jim.
How are you? I think you're on mute now. Okay.
I think I'm unmuted, Jim. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yep.
Good. All right.
Loud and clear.
I'll leave the cursor right there.
Okay.
Oh. Well, good evening.
Hi, Todd.
Well,
Lieutenant
hello.
Marshall.
Yeah, well, I thought I'd join this committee tonight.
Hi, everyone. This is Angie. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Angie.
We can.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
A wonderful evening to you, Angie. How are you?
I'm doing good. And how about all you fellas?
Well,
All of you doing well?
we're persevering, coming out of a dark winter. We're going to have more light next week. So,
How about that? Well, I'll tell you, I knew it was coming because almost 2 weeks ago, I looked out my back window here, and I saw this great big brown thing crossing my backyard. I knew spring was here because the groundhog is now back. I have my own groundhog that I go by the seasons with.
Yeah, they can do a lot of damage, Angie. I agree. They can do a lot of digging.
Oh,
But
can they?
Are they helpful in some ways, Angie?
Not that I know of.
Okay, thought I'd give it a try.
The only way they're helpful actually is in aggravating and tearing up and making big holes all over. And the dog, this little tiny dog, thinks it's going to attack it. It don't work that way. That thing could tear that dog apart.
Uh-huh.
So now I have to watch every time I open my back door that thing is in my backyard.
As a somewhat wildlife person, I will say that it has been a rough winter for a lot of critters. We're talking not only woodchucks, but opossum, raccoon, fox, squirrel. I have a friend of mine who is a hawk guy, trains hawks to hunt, and especially for the bigger hawks that are expected to live off of rabbits and mice and voles and things. This winter we had with the layers of ice and more snow and more ice, the creatures that would be called prey were underneath there doing their thing, and of course the hawks could not get to them. So there was significant amount of death rate among the bigger hawks. Now,
Wow.
of course, the whole issue then would be to migrate at least nearby or a few hundred miles to where such a weather pattern wouldn't exist.
Right.
We all know about the snowy owls that come down from the Arctic in years when this particular kind of Arctic rodent called a lemming is in short supply. So they'll migrate down into the Dakotas, and of course that's my roots. So when we'd see snowy owls in January, February, we'd know that they were migrating looking for food.
You have a very interesting profession.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Although, as I'm always telling my staff, I say, this job is about people,
Ah,
because we can always relate to the animal. It's the people who own them and the people that we're dealing with. So I say, this job is about people.
there's a current show on Masterpiece called All Creatures, Great and Small.
That's this segment just concluded a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
Right.
James Harriet.
And the standard line is there because it's veterinarians that, form the basis of the business or the practice. And it's like, it's not the animals, it's the people.
Yeah. Can I brag a bit?
Yes.
Sure.
I have been in his practice
Whoa.
in Thirsk, England. He was still alive. This would have been 81. And he
Oh,
was still alive, and like me, he continued to practice until he was physically unable to. Of course, his lifestyle lent to, can we say, notoriety?
yes.
So he was beloved by the literary world until the very end.
Wow. You have a right to be proud and do a little bragging about that.
Yes, he can. I will also tell you, yesterday I was upstairs looking out my window and I had a wasp looking at me. So those little insects are alive and well too and coming out.
They do like the warmer weather.
Yes, they do. They freeze in the winter and then they come alive with the first good thaw.
So is that wasp still alive or did you dispose of it?
Oh, and my upstairs, I opened the window and I have a can of spray that I just spray because the fact I don't want them. I've had them in my house before. I've had them in my basement before. And I had the, what do they call them, paper wasp, where they got up between the siding and the house itself.
Oh,
It came in through a pipeline. And so, no, I have to keep a spray. I'm cruel that way. I'm sorry. I'll leave your honeybees alone, but I can't handle the wasp.
huh.
I will interrupt. Are we waiting for Sandra? Is she going to be at
I
the
see her
meeting?
in the background there behind Christina.
Oh, okay. We will give that a moment.
Christina, do you know if she's going to join us?
Well, I saw the good doc. There she is. She's hovering.
Maybe I
do
can
have-
lead it, but
All right. We are live and we do have a quorum. So I will make a motion to start, or I guess we will just start the financial committee meeting for the date of March 10th, 2021. First,
Can you guys hear me now? Yes, please?
Well, I saw the good doc. There she is.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I'm gonna be back down.
She's
You're gonna get
hovering.
started. I gotta go get vaccine ready for tomorrow morning for someone.
Okay, we're gonna
maybe
get,
I
you have-
can lead it, but
all right.
can
We are
you,
live and we do have a quorum.
yes, we
So I
do.
will make a motion to start, or I guess we will just start the financial committee meeting for the
Dr.
date
Halverson?
of March 10th, 2021.
If we could
First-
please,
Can you guys hear me now?
Okay,
Yes,
1 minute.
please.
Well, I saw the good doc. There she is.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I'm gonna be back down.
She's
We're gonna
hovering.
get started. I gotta go.
This-
get the vaccine ready.
Guys, to Christina for a minute, please.
Okay, so we have a quorum. We'll get started, but if we could please address agenda item 5 first so that we can get Todd out of here. And then we'll go on with the rest of the agenda and hopefully Dr. Martell will be able to join us then.
All right, I will call the meeting to order. Our first order of business is the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion and a second?
So
I would
moved.
move that.
Thank you. Do we have any discussion? If none, all in favor of approving the agenda for the March 10th meeting, signify by
Aye.
saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Agenda is set. We'll go into agenda item 2, financial statements. First is resolution of expenditures, which is deferred. Second is statement of fund balance, also deferred. Our financial review, it is deferred. Our balance sheet is deferred. We'll move into bank reconciliations, starting on page 2 for the general account. If you notice, we had quite a jump from our February meeting, went from about 54,000 and change to 627,279.09.
Yeah, we had quite a
Obviously, we've gotten some money.
Well, we actually, what we did is we transferred a lot into our general account, so, and it's just the bank statement itself didn't reflect that, but, they did the recording, so our ending February balance is 54,000 there, but, we did transfer out 538,000. It's just not reflected in the bank records as yet, so. And that's pervasive along the other 2 accounts as well, so.
Yes, the lead account, which is next found on page 5. If you look, we had a February balance of 5,000 and we are now at 176, 448.53. Assuming we received some of our lead money.
Yeah, that was 2 separate HUD transfers that were in there that were incoming. One of those now has since been transferred to our main account, so.
Thank you. We'll go to abandoned properties, which we had a little boost from 5,000 up to 30,694, an increase of 25,000 and change. Again, I'm assuming the same thing, Jim?
Yes.
Transfer.
Yep.
Right. And then our state of Illinois e-pay found on page 11, where we had a little bit of a decrease from our February balance of about $3,000. Does anyone have any questions or comments concerning these reconciliations?
No.
Okay, thank you, Jim.
All right.
Okay, we will move to 2F, which is revenue and expenditure reports, also deferred. Our public health emergency reserve minimum graph, that is also deferred until Tuesday's meeting, and accounts receivable, also deferred. We will move into major expenditure requests, item number 3. The first one.
John, I'm
Yes,
just curious. Did Christina say that she wanted us, because of Todd being there, to take item number 5 before we went through all of these things?
that I did not hear because of lag. So if that is correct, Christina, I will move right to
Please.
item number 5.
Please.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. I did not hear that with the lag. So we will.
but we
move
were
to-
being a little boisterous at that point, so.
I think, well, again, I believe that was the lag. We will move to item number 5, the resolution to suspend annual food and beverage permits. That can be found on page 62. Todd, do you want to talk to us a little bit about this?
Yeah, obviously there was a lot of impact to the restaurants and bars during COVID. I think we all know that it was times of struggle. Obviously, my staff was involved with the enforcement part of it. Obviously, want to make sure that we do understand on the backside that they were impacted heavily, and they truly were. And I know the county board was made a proposal to see if we could waive their annual food permits and then get on the backside, get it back from them, the money from host fees. So what we would do is waive the fees, we get paid back from the county through host fees.
Okay.
How much is,
Okay, go ahead.
how much is that?
I think it was $250,000. I think Chris Dornbush was working with that, and I apologize. I've been on vacation. I had to visit my my mom for medical reasons, but what I do know, they were working through that. And Angie, maybe do you know anything more about that through the county board? I know Jazz was working on this.
No,
and-
because first of all, I'm not on operations or finance anymore. So no, I'm not familiar with it. And yeah, because that would be a big loss to us too, that kind of money.
Well, that's why obviously it would not affect us. Basically, is what it is changing hands. And Jim, if you want to jump in, but what it'd be is we would waive the fees. We would get reimbursed from the host fees from the county up to $250,000.
Yeah, because I think a concern is we have done our inspections even, over and above what we normally do. So, just that we're waiving them as a courtesy or a concession for all the hardships that these people have incurred. So.
So the county is,
Resolution, which should be in your packet, and it's basically saying so we can proceed forward to the county board with this.
Yeah, the last 2 pages.
Yep, 62 and 63.
Last 2 pages. I apologize. I should have directed the committee to those pages.
No,
But yes, that's
you're good.
really truly, it was proposed to the county board for our assistance because we do know there's been hardship and permit renewals coming on up. And we know that.
Okay.
And,
Todd, just for sake of information, what is the per cost per restaurant, or does it vary per restaurant size and capacity on the, what is the typical outlay per restaurant for
great
food and then
question.
beverage?
And it does mention in here, there's category 1 and category 2. Now, category 1 is considered high risk. That is the priority, is the high risk. And the reason why is those are the bigger restaurants that have seating. The restaurants that had the seating got the hardest hit. Not the pizza places where you'd pick up your pizza and leave, or the fast food places and all that kind of stuff. That's not what we're addressing here. We're talking the big seating areas, and they do vary depending on how many seats they have. If it's 0 to 50 seats, you pay, I think it's $500. And I think it goes all the way up to $750. And that's what they're proposing for us to waive, but get reimbursed through the county board through the host fees.
And what is a category 2 facility?
Category 2 are medium risk. Those are cooked to orders. Now, that is not going to be addressing Burger King, McDonald's. Those are cooked to orders. We are not going to reimburse. They actually thrived during COVID.
you're
Obviously,
right.
I think we all utilized the drive-throughs. I hate to say it, but we did. We're talking.
You don't have to, we don't have, it's okay, Todd.
Or maybe the Starbucks or something, but that's a cook to order kind of a place. But truly, there is a lot of ma pa places. There is some bars that are risk twos that basically cook a burger right on the spot and give it to you. They're not holding on to it or anything like that. That's considered medium risk category 2s. And we would have to filter those out to ensure the ones that were impacted. Obviously, the fast food places, no.
Okay, thank
So
you.
with my team as experts, we can do that on category 2s and really pull those ones out. And so we can support the ones that were actually hit.
Well,
Because I gotta
Todd,
tell you, Todd, I do I support the idea behind this resolution, but I also know that you guys worked probably double time making sure these restaurants were in compliance during this time. So as long as, you guys are gonna be reimbursed, if you're good with this, I agree.
Thank you. Yes,
Okay.
it was troubling times, challenging times, and yes, we did spend a lot of time not only inspecting them, we never stopped. And it's a great opportunity to tell you that out of all the 102 counties, we completed all inspections. But we
Oh,
did it safely. Yes. Yeah, we did it safely. We had safety protocols in place, how to maintain social distancing, wearing masks and all that. We were able to complete all our inspections. But yeah, it was challenging times. It truly was.
Well, Todd, if I might make a comment, not that I have such an ear to the ground in this community, perhaps Angie more so, but I would hope that on one hand, we have now fewer enemies and maybe more friends.
Very,
That
very
would be
good
nice.
point. Yes. Very good point. Yeah, there was a lot of continuous confrontation with my staff in the industry. And this is just a step forward on that, working together and getting back to somewhat normal. But obviously, that's a long way down the road, but this is at least a start. I do agree.
I'm sorry, I came in on the tail end on that.
Yes. They're just asking about, we were just talking about the resolution. So,
Yeah, and again, this is kind of the first step. We know that the counties and the cities will also be receiving a significant amount of funds. We understand through the, I don't know, what are we calling it? The Rescue Act, the COVID Rescue Recovery. And then there's actually money this time allocated to local units of government. And so, I think Todd and I had kind of made the case for a little more of the equity consideration for both category 1s and category 2s. The challenge is that right now they're going to start with host fees to cover the category 1. And so they're going to reimburse us back for the permit fees. But that may change, and there may be other resolutions that you'll need to advance in order for them to affect the change.
thank you, Dr. Martell. That's, just a little clarification, but exactly what I.
Sorry about that. You probably already covered that, right?
Oh, yeah, I did, but thank you for reiterating that. We did have some questions about it. So, yeah.
Chairman Halverson, I would recommend this resolution be accepted.
second.
We have a motion and a second. I do have one final question. Is the reimbursement to us by the county board contingent on the Rescue Act being passed, which it looks like it will be by this weekend?
It is not, because they are going to first use host fees. So they have budgeted this out of host fee first. Now, and where they get the rest of their funding would be, so it's not contingent on passage of the act and the funding.
Good point.
Any further questions? We have a motion and a second to endorse a resolution to the county board to waive fees for category 1 and category 2. Rest are
No, category 1.
just category 1. Okay. In this resolution, it does mention category 2, so we may want to adjust that.
It does say that, Dr. Martell. I noticed.
I thought we had edited that out because they were coming back. We'll edit that out for the final board meeting to remove that.
Okay, thank you.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the resolution and move this forward to the board to waive the food and beverage fees for this year, fiscal year 2021, category 1 food facilities. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? So passed. We will bring this to the board.
Thank you for your support. on that.
Thank you. Best to your mom.
All right, thank you, thank you.
Okay. We'll move to page 14, which are major expenditure requests. First one being the IDPH electronic filing fee for death certificates. That is for the approximate amount of $8,424. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second,
Thank you. Do we have any questions concerning this? If none, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of approving said expenditure signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? So passed. We will move to item B, which is on page 19, and that is for the membership dues of the 2021 Rockford Regional Health Council membership in the amount of $7,250. Do I have a motion and a second?
So move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I know we've talked about this in previous years. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Well, do we have any further questions concerning this due and where the health department sits with this?
I guess I feel that it's important as a health department to be part of the activities that are carried on by the Rockford Regional Health Council. For us not to participate in that would leave, I think, a gap, so I guess I'm very much in favor of, even though I'm not sure exactly, I couldn't pinpoint what we get out of that specifically, other than collegiality and inclusion. But I happen to believe that both of those things are important things.
And I would emphasize, the current quote medical crisis, as we move forward in the next year, that collegiality you're speaking of, Jim, is going to be even more important.
Okay. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of approving said expenditure request signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? So passed. We will bring this to the board. If we move to page 25, we have Adapt Pharma for Narcan nasal spray purchase. And that is in the amount of $53,100. This is a budgeted item.
I'll move it.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
And this is what I was looking for, 708 doses. Has the cost gone up on this?
I think it's been consistent
Okay,
at like $75.
Correct.
Dose. So
yeah, I didn't break that down. All right, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any questions or concerns? If none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So passed. Our last major expenditure is to CDW government for 2 Surface Pro computers that can be found on page 29. And that is in the cost of $4,839.22. Do I have a motion and a second to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. What information will this be gathering? I know it's for the Breastfeeding Peer Council.
we have 2 new part-time counselors with this breastfeeding peer counseling program that we have, and so in order for them to, I think they do some traveling and scribing, but this is part of the grant program, and so in the initial funding, they're allowing us to a reimbursement for these expenses. So it's been, it hasn't gone off the ground as quickly as they'd like because of the challenges with COVID, but so we do have plenty of room in there for those, and then in future years, they'll be using that equipment. So,
And it's part of the WIC program.
yeah.
Breastfeeding peer
Essentially.
support is a sub-program under the WIC program. So they document, they may be working through the corners. Well, now it's eWIC. I forget it's the new generation on the WIC system. So they are required to provide some documentation. So again, this is equipment that stays within the program after it's done.
Okay. And I mean, I fully understand why it would be used. Is most of our information being stored cloud? Is it cloud-based? I'm just looking at the specs of the computers, and I'm not trying to nitpick, but I mean, we're obviously in top of the line computers. Do we need a half a terabyte of storage for this? Do we need i7s compared to i5s? I'm not looking to justify every little thing. If there's future use that's going to be used for, I don't want to argue about a couple $100 here or there. It's
Right.
just,
Yeah,
this is a lot of money for a couple of Surface Pro computers, which why they're going to be moved into the program. They're also going to be beat up a fair amount being on the constant move.
Well, essentially, they're spec'd by they
IT.
have by IT at Winnebago County, and so that they can that we can communicate with them. They can use the virtual private network. They can get on the network drives, and then they have the specs to get into the iWIC or Cornerstone or whatever application they're using. So, and then they work with the the peripheral devices, and then any local printers that we have here. So essentially we're going by yes, we're going by Winnebago County IT's specs, and some of them might have a little more horsepower than needed for some of the applications, but in general it expedites the setup, so that they can do their scans for them, and then kind of standardizes their process. So we're kind of fit into that.
And it's the standard issuance. There's nothing extra on this. So they're not getting any extra additional memories, RAMs, or any of that. So they're getting the standard, what we
I
would.
also noticed, will we need to look into getting some Surface pens? Is that going to be in order later? Do we want to order those at this point now? That's so rather than type everything in, I know we're ordering keyboards, you can kind of write and it transcribes. It might want to be something we ask, so we're not coming back later to ask for a couple $100 worth of computer pens.
We can certainly do that. Most of they have to be able to type though, a lot of it won't be accepted for the write-in for the WIC and things like that yet.
Okay.
So we still have to keyboard.
Okay.
But we can
Right.
ask them if they're going to include pens in the future.
Okay. All right. Do we have any further questions? Okay, we have a motion and a second for the purchase of 2 Surface Pro computers for the 2 Surface Pro computers and accessories for the breastfeeding peer counseling program. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? So passed. We will move into page 20 or 36, proposed contracts and agreements. The first proposed contract is for health promotion and wellness, the Rockford Environmental Science Academy Middle School. It's a teen pregnancy prevention program. There is no amount stated. It is part of our grant. Do I have a motion and a second?
So move.
Second.
Thank you. And this is just part of the teen pregnancy prevention program, which goes through the schools.
It allows us to go and conduct the sessions in the school. So that's the MOU to allow us to do that. So they're not getting funds for that. They're getting our person. It's the agreement to allow our person to go in and do that programming.
It says that it's new. Have we gone into the schools in different ways before? Or why would this be listed as new?
Well, first of all, remember this grant fund came in about 1.5 years ago, right before the pandemic hit.
Okay.
modifications made and different schools eventually became selected about where they wanted to do it. And there was an expansion. This was a year two. Remember, there was a demonstration portion on this. This is through the Department of Human Services. This is a kind of a, I want to say it's part of the federal looking at some of the outcomes based. These are phase two programming. So they wanted to go into middle school. So you see Riza is being added as a middle school as well as Eisenhower Middle School. So initial programming was at the high school level. Remember, we had KFACT was involved, and
Right.
we were using, can't even think anymore. Can't even remember. Youth Services Network was another. And at that time, the Rockford Public was not really interested in having them at school level. Now because we've gone into the middle school, they're willing to do an MOU with us to provide that services. So the agreement with these schools is new, but the program is not new.
Yeah, I realized it was new. I mean, that the program was not new, but I hadn't realized that they pinpointed the middle school aspect of it. So thank you.
Any further questions? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of approving the contract with Rockford Environmental Science Academy Middle School, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So passed. The second is the Teen Pregnancy Prevention Program through Health Promotions and Wellness with Eisenhower Middle School. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. This is the same. Do we have any questions concerning this? If none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? So passed. Move to our third, which is 4C, the UIC College of Nursing, nurse practitioner services in the amount of $113,018.40. This is a budgeted item. Can you tell us a little bit about this? Is this for how many nurses?
This is for the nurse practitioner and the hours. And I just texted Jim, again, we pay an hourly rate and it's on the number of hours we use. That seems like an inaccurate dollar amount that's in the table, Jim. Because they're only working 20 hours a week, I believe is what we contract for. Sorry.
Jim, you're on mute.
Sorry.
Yeah, I had 24 hours a week. I must have had the wrong number for 52 weeks times I think the rate is 71.35. So
yeah, it's about 74,000.
Okay. So
I mean,
you only 20 hours a week, then
24 hours, that's fine, 24 hours. I mean, I think we build that capacity and right, so there are some hours that are more, but this is the women's health nurse practitioner piece. So we replaced, remember, we transitioned from using some part-time staff to using a nurse practitioner on contract with the University of Illinois. And then again, that's the maximum number of hours. So it's based on number of hours of service needed per week. And that is part of year 2 of the agreement. The initial, we put the original agreement behind it. They do increase, as we know, every year. It was 66 hours, $66 per hour last year.
It says the funding, it comes both from grant as well as levy. How much of it comes from grant and how much of it comes from levy?
I'd say like 35% from grant, the way it's funded now with the family planning. Now that may change in the next year, but and quite a bit from levy because we do run that family planning program at quite a deficit.
And we also don't get grant funds for STD clinic. I think we should be clear that that's funded through your levy as well, your STD services. some of it may be hobbled together through immunization, but yeah, the predominance in family planning, usually $1 for a grant, usually is $2 to $3 that's spent on the program to provide the service.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, we have a motion and a second for a
Moved.
women's health nurse practitioner service, the amount of $113,18.40.
I think, we need to correct that, Jim. What's the correction on the 20?
It's just $89,000 would be better number.
The upper limit.
Exceed that, yes.
Okay. We have to make a motion to change that number.
We should.
Yes.
Then I make a motion that we change that number for personnel health services from $113,018.40 to $89,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Now we will move to the original or the proposed contract for the nurse practitioner services for personal health services in the amount of $89,000. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So passed. Our next is the Health Promotions and Wellness Drug Overdose Prevention Program. No amount. Is this a Narcan?
Yes. It's
Patient?
the agreement to allow them to administer Narcan with us.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Do we have any questions concerning this? If none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. So passed. 4E, again, through Health Promotion and Wellness. This is with the City of Rockford Fire Department, the Drug Overdose Prevention Program, the Narcan, no amount. This is, do I have a motion to approve?
It's a renewal from last year, so it should not say new because they've been doing it before with us. And again, that allows them to train individuals in the community and then dispense Narcan that we provide them.
Do we need to, a motion to approve that as a renewal? Or
I
no?
will move that.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor of changing that from new contract to an existing renewal, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, so we will move into the actual contract, which is a renewal with the City of Rockford Fire Department for the Drug Overdose Prevention Program, distributing the Narcan and the training. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. So passed. Our last is found on page, our last contract is found on page 57. It is a medical health officer through Health Administration, the UIC College of Medicine, in the amount of $36,000 a year. This is a budgeted item. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move that.
Second.
Thank you. And
Question. In terms of the grant levy, same explanation as in terms of the nursing that we just talked about in terms of the women's health nurse practitioner? Or is it a different explanation about having both grant and levy and proportion?
It's a little bit different on this one because this is the medical officer for the Winnebago County Health Department. That's for the services of Dr. Schiller. And if you read the agreement through, it's for the CLIA portion, so it's the lab. It's also for, communicable disease consultation, things like that. So there's some grant, like our local health protection does some of that, as well as our levy for our levy supported programs like TB.
I see. Okay, so similar but different.
Yeah, I guess I, in terms of how many dollars go into the program, it's not a specific program. This is much broader than even the women's health. There's multiple grants that we charge to so that we have the medical officer as the CMO with us.
Got it.
And it's also an existing, because it's year 2, if you see the agreement as well. So sorry, we've got some news existing. I got a little confused on that chart, but it's an existing as well.
Okay. Do I have a motion to change the contract from new to existing?
So moved.
Second,
Good. All in favor?
aye.
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 Angie, did we lose you?
Oh, I'm here. I was just reading. I couldn't figure out. I see what we're doing. Okay, yes.
It's hard with the U of I contracts because they give us one page on the renewals, right? So this one doesn't have the other one. You'll see amendment number 2, it's the second year on this agreement. You originally approved it last year under, they have this fancy 000400028. And we can certainly provide you with the originals on the back of us.
Did that also increase in the amount, or was it a set contract for the 2 years?
Theirs was more of a set contract. It did not change because there's no dollar amount change on this.
And this is the total amount for the services?
Correct.
Right. Okay, thank you.
It's not, yeah, it's not an hourly rate that we get charged on this.
Okay, thank you.
We have a motion and a second for the renewal of the medical health officer with through the health administration with the UIC College of Medicine, the amount of $36,000. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? So passed. We have already done number 5, the resolution to suspend annual food and beverage permits. Do we have need for an executive session?
No, we do not. And I apologize. I've got to get on a 6:30. I have back-to-backs tonight on doing some push out on some of our minority communities for vaccination efforts. So yeah, it's a little crazy here, as you would guess.
Okay, then I will just make one real quick request before we let you go and adjourn. Is it possible, since so much of this is deferred, I got this afternoon. I had minimal time. Is it possible I can get it maybe the Friday before, or at least early the day before?
I got mine the day before.
You got yours yesterday
I
afternoon?
got mine yesterday.
Maybe mine arrived, but it was not there when I got home, so it might have been after.
All right, we'll try and do a better job on this. Yeah, we definitely will. And if you tried to get it by email, our email server went down last night and we didn't know until this morning. So apologies, we'll try and get those packets out earlier. As you would guess, we're kind of running pretty thin right now. I mean, people are coming back. I got people coming back from clinic right now. And so appreciate that you've got to give us a little bandwidth on that one, but we will try and do a better job on this, especially on some of these more extended, I'm going to say contracts and agreements. And I think Jim, he's been working hard to get that done.
I appreciate it. I know it's been crazy. Any chance, I know you have to run, that we will have a in-person meeting, because I believe the entire board, is most of the staff also immunized?
It may be, but we will talk about that moving forward going in. But I think this month will be probably still, we're going to be definitely Zoom, and then probably moving toward what size and what people want to do. I mean, I think the board will have to decide how they'd like to proceed and move forward, because I will be honest with you, our current room gets tied up pretty quick. And there are still capacity limits and spacing requirements. So we would want to make sure that we're able to enforce that. And frankly, we don't know who's all vaccinated yet. We don't.
Don't you have your passport?
We spend a lot of time trying to find people's missing passports.
Yes. All right, if we have no further business, I know Dr.
Hey, I
Martello.
had one last quick question for you, Sandra. Who would I talk to down there about what's going on vaccine-wise in 61104?
as it relates to,
Sites, what's happening, the reason I asked, happened to have a friend who's very involved in the churches down in 61104, wondering, just in asking what was going on vaccine wise in 61104.
maybe maybe what we can do is adjourn the meeting. And we can,
Okay,
yeah, because we can provide an update because we're working through a lot of different, it's not even just a zip code. If you're talking west side, right?
No.
no.
Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So
Well,
moved.
Yeah, I have a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Finance Committee meeting of March 10th, 2021 is officially adjourned.
Nice job.
All right, good night.
And I look